Thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. It's so great to be here, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, all right. So, for folks who don't know who Lance Ippolito is, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Lance Ippolito. I started getting involved into the stock market being, how do you say, a young 21-year-old lost community college student. Basically, like many young people, I feel like now, I graduated high school, no hopes and dreams of college or anything, and got basically dropped off at the community college from my sister one day and said, "Hey, you're a beach bum. Why don't you go and get an education?" Well, ended up going back in and out of school for years. Met a girl who was going to be a doctor, so I said, "I got to get my together." And I was big into trying to lose weight at the time because I was a little chunky Lance. And I saw these guys on the TV thinking, man, they're talking about stocks. They all look rich wearing their suit and ties. And I was trying to lose weight. So every day I go to the gym on the treadmill for an hour and I'd see the tickers. Started remembering the tickers, the prices, the changes. And I thought, man, it kind of reminds me of baseball cards back when I was a kid. I would get the magazines and see if the price went up and down and check the prices every month. So I thought, hey, why don't I get into the stock market? Ever since then, I got my act together, started studying finance in school, started interning at different investment firms, and really just took a passion for the markets and uh, started off at Citigroup Global Markets, traded professionally for a hedge fund, made a lot of money, lost a lot of money. Then I said, this hedge fund life is too stressful for me. After a couple years, I made a lot of money and moved to Costa Rica. Really wasn't supposed to move. I ended up taking a week vacation with my girlfriend at the time. She came back. I stayed in Costa Rica for about 3 months. Didn't have a girlfriend anymore. And when I came back from Florida, from Costa Rica, I started basically trading on my laptop, doing live trade rooms, education, building indicators, and getting into the kind of crazy world of financial education. I've been doing that for about 11 years since.
Wow. So, you went walkabout and then came back, found yourself in the trading room.
Pretty much.
Women will do that to you. I tell you, you just never know. When it comes to some of the stuff you specialize in, though, you have a very specific niche that you really enjoy. And what is that?
Correct. So my big thing is institutional order flow in the options market. Sounds advanced, but really kind of the
Yeah, for people who don't know,
buzzword,
I mean, what is that?
right? It's basically unusual option activity or UOA. Basically, every option trade, an option is a derivative of stock, is time stamped and approved by the exchange. So there's no dark pools, there's no like secret orders. So what I did about 11 years ago was I built an option scanner in real time to find the largest option trades in the stock market being executed down to the second. When I built my scanner, I wanted to see them so I can replicate the biggest trades in the world. We're talking Bill Ackman, Warren Buffett, Carl Icahn, the biggest and best, most successful, wealthiest traders in the world. So all I do is I copy them. They're the whales, I'm the little fish. They might be trading millions of dollars, I might be trading hundreds of dollars, but that's how I really built my reputation in the industry, and that's primarily the way I trade. And trust me, I started doing penny stocks, forex, futures, you name it, all the risky stuff because I didn't have a lot of money starting off like a lot of people. But I really found that unusual option activity or institutional order flow in the option market. There's limited risk, potential massive upside reward. And for someone who is starting off, I think it's the best way to trade.
When you talk about the largest options, are we talking volume or dollar amounts?
Really good question. So, dollar amount, because we want to see trades that make an impact. So, for example, a $10,000 trade, I mean, any regular Joe can do that. But when we see a $2 million trade, let's say in some gold miner stock out of Canada, and that's going to have more of an impact to that stock. So, how we look at it is volume times the dollar amount spent. So, for example, let's say they buy 1,000 contracts at $1 each. We're looking at $100,000 order right there.
And so why did you pick options as opposed to, I don't know, day trading in the regular stock market or something along those lines?
Right. So options really attracted me because I started off with a small account. I'm talking a couple $1,000 and I blew that account multiple times. And when you're trying to trade stock, let's say like Google or Tesla, and you have a $2,000 account, I mean, you could buy 4 shares of Tesla. It's very difficult to make money in the stock market when you have such a small account doing the stock itself. The penny stocks, that's kind of the buzzword, especially when I was getting started, but they were so risky, so volatile. One day you're up 10%, the next day you're down 40%. And then all the kind of small barriers to entry, the Forex, the futures, just really, really, really risky. And what led me to options was the limited risk. I can trade shares of Tesla for, you know, $30 if I want, or $200 if I want. So where my small account, I was able to trade the biggest, the best stocks in the world using options without putting up tens of thousands of dollars.
So, in really more bang for your buck, in a sense.
Exactly.
Are there any risks, though? I mean, you would think, well, there's risk to anything, but what are the risks with options?
The beauty when you buy options, and that's what I do using the news flow scanner, my institutional order flow scanner, you can only lose the amount you put in. So let's say you buy an option for $100, the max you can lose is only $100 if it doesn't work out. I don't do any of this complex option stuff like shorting stock or naked options or diagonal spreads or covered calls or selling puts, all this like advanced stuff you might hear in the media. I don't do any of that. I keep it simple. I buy options. That's it. Why? Because it's limited risk, potential upside reward. And that's all I want. I want to keep it simple. That's kind of my philosophy throughout life.
Well, I mean, you're one of the rarities, I think, who was looking at the ticker and was like, I can do that. I think a lot of people might be sitting on the elliptical and been like, I don't even know what any of those numbers mean. What is it that you found, or how is it that someone sitting in a gym who might be interested in the stock market, how can they make it accessible?
Right. So the big thing for me, I'm a visual learner. I was never good in textbooks. I think I graduated high school with the barely a 2.0 GPA. It was really, really bad, like ADHD out the wazoo. So I became a big fan, and what's super cool nowadays, it's way more popular with YouTube and stuff, is I'm a visual learner. So what I did, and we're talking, what, 16 plus years ago now, was I went and joined trade rooms. Basically, you're in a room, kind of like a Zoom. Back in the day, it was GoToWebinar, and you would watch someone screen share and talk about what they were doing. So I did that every day. I would stay on, 4 to 8 hours a day whenever I could to learn, to see someone, see the visuals. Hey, we're going to buy Apple stock. We're going to buy Google call options, seeing them do it over and over again. And it really built just that, kind of like lifting weights, you build your reps and seeing it day in and day out, that consistency. That's really how I learned when I was really starting off, straight out of college, because it's crazy in college. They don't tell you really anything about the stock market. You learn all this textbook stuff that you'll never use in real life, even in finance. So I really had to seek out online and find a mentor who was willing to help me out and really just show up each and every day and be consistent.
When it comes to this space, right? I mean, you can get on YouTube or the internet or TikTok or whatever medium you choose. I feel like it is flush with
Oh,
people
yes.
who want to spout off about something. What distinguishes you from everybody else that people can trust what it is you're going to have to say?
Yeah, so I think right now it's very hard because there's such a lack of transparency, and you see that not only in the stock market, but it might be entrepreneurship and real estate. You see these guys with Bugattis and Ferraris, saying to buy the next hot penny stock. Well, uh, that doesn't exist. If it's that easy, everyone would be doing it. So
Car is
with
a rental.
me, right, right. With me, I showcase everything. I place the trades live. I walk you through the trades. I walk you through the risk out there. I mean, my system is black and white. There's no gray area. And when I say that, it's because I showcase my news flow scanner, my institutional order flow scanner. So, the trades are right there in real time. It's for you to click the mouse. So that's what's super cool. And kind of to be honest, just on another aspect, I really don't have anything to uh, gain or to sell. Like I've already made my money. I call myself a retired dad, and all I have is two cows, no kids yet. But I do this just
House.
for the education. Yeah. So I bought a ranch back during COVID and stuff. I was very fortunate to have some big years in my life. So I do it really just for the education, just for the people out there. I would say about once a day, though. I do think of moving back to Costa Rica, no cell phone, no internet, and kind of being off the grid again. So it may happen, but I really just do it for the folks out there, the community. And like I said, everything is time stamped and approved. There's no gray area. Um, I don't, I have tractors, not Ferraris.
I was gonna
So
say, some people during COVID made sourdough and watched, Tiger King, and you bought a
I did
ranch and
that
some
too.
cows.
Yeah, I did that too, though. I love myself a good old Tiger King, and actually, he was right down the street, about 20 minutes away, where uh, yeah, the whole kind of tiger thing happened here in Florida.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny. Well, so I mean, in transparency, right? Because this industry, there are big wins, there are big losses. I mean, for you, what was maybe the biggest lesson you learned, maybe a hard lesson you learned that you kind of, and what did you take from that?
Yeah, so I've blown out multiple times, and if no one tells you they don't lose at first, run as far as you can. Because in order to be a winner, you have to be a really good loser. You're never going to be on top of the mountain unless you have stumbled down a few times. So really for me, I really learned starting off that, hey, there's a lot of stuff that sounds very easy on the internet, and really it's not. Like I said, I did Forex, penny stocks, all that kind of stuff, and I got my booty blown. I mean, it was rough, rough, rough out there. So when I look at, kind of stuff I failed in, it was usually kind of the get rich quick um, stories, kind of buy this stock or you can do this and using crazy leverage, which you never want to do. That's why, I trade options with limited risk out there. But what really got me, I guess, kind of making my name and really gravitating towards my strategy was I did 1 year, there was a stock called Weight Watchers. Kind of, I remember my grandma, all the ladies would, you
Counter
know,
points.
yeah, count their points after doing their Taibo and kick, all that
Yeah.
kickboxing and stuff. And I thought, man, Weight Watchers, you never, it's not like an Apple or a Google or a Amazon, not a popular stock out there. But I remember I saw about $250,000 order hit my news flow scanner. It was a bullish call buy. And I said, man, that's very weird. Weight Watchers, it was like a $7 stock at the time. So I copied the order, placed the trade a few days later. Next thing you know, Oprah's a part of Weight Watchers, took a stake in the company. Oprah's, going to lose weight and, she's got her TV show. So all the people, the stock exploded. I mean, it just soared the next day. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Well, throughout that year, about 4 or 5 other times, every time Weight Watchers would have news, someone would come in the options market and spend anywhere between $250,000 to $1 million. We call front running the news, or basically placing a trade. Then the news comes out, sending the stock price higher. So that happened, and I remember the stock went from 70 or $7 to $70 uh, in a year. They would have announcements that they were signing DJ Khaled, all these other celebrity endorsements. I mean, you have a new Oprah commercial, and it was just insane, the stock. So I did these trades in my trade room at the time. We would be on the lookout for the Weight Watchers trader, this mysterious trader who would always buy Weight Watchers calls. So after a full year of the stock basically going up 10x, um, I went on a Weight Watchers diet. I tried it myself. So I went to the grocery store. They're all like the frozen Weight Watcher meals. I spent like $500 in 1 week on Weight Watchers food. And I know why the people lost weight because you would eat the meal. It'd be like lasagna and you would still be hungry because the portions were so small, like you said, with the points and stuff like that, which is pretty hilarious. But after that, it was really a wake-up call, like, hey, this works, and I'm, really good at it, and it's somewhat predictable on certain stocks time and time again. Now, of course, I got, up in the clouds thinking I was a big shot and everything. So a few weeks later, I lost 40,000 bucks in a flash. So it was a wake up call, but it was a real good experience that not only let me know that, hey, this strategy is suits me and my personality and my risk profile, but also every time I have like a big win streak, it's time to go to the beach, time to go on vacation, not to
The
look at the
market always
market.
corrects. Yeah.
Right. Just like you're at the casino and you win. Don't keep betting, walk away.
And that's where trips like Costa Rica or a ranch in Florida come in, I suppose.
Exactly. Or go meditate, go outside, go do yoga. You could do whatever you want, but sometimes the best thing is just to walk away.
Yeah. Well, so a little bit more about you outside of work. You already mentioned that you have a ranch in Florida, which I would your two cows have names? Important question.
I had I have Big Bertha and Honey. I had Mary Jane, but she got sick and passed. And then I had three more girls who I gave to my neighbor out there. I thought about getting goats. I was actually just on the boat fishing, and my neighbor just got all these goats, and they were running around the dock and everything. So I got a little jealous. So I might get goats soon. There's an alpaca farm next door. I just can't have alpacas because my fence and everything. But I've had tons of birds in my life. I love chickens and stuff, but sadly the coyotes and foxes and bobcats, you name it. We have everything here in Florida. You think gators are bad? We get all the uh, all the creatures, that's for sure. And yeah, really just fun. I like living on the land. Got a lake out back, so I fish a lot, and kind of get away from the day-to-day kind of city life that you most people probably think of when they think of finance and trading and investing. You're like on New York Wall Street, but not for me.
Yeah, I mean the opposite of a computer screen is the outdoors.
Correct. And I think that's, that was kind of the goal starting off. I was like, I don't want to be, grinding on the hustle and bustle because I did that for years when I worked at the hedge fund and like it was not for me.
Well, yeah, kind of as a parting comment for folks who might be listening to this interview or folks who might be overwhelmed. I mean, you have a non-traditional story that I think a lot of people can relate to. What is the piece of advice you would give to somebody who's like, Ollie, I really want to break into this, but I kind of feel like I'm paralyzed with just not knowing.
Right. So the biggest thing I think, and people think I'm crazy saying this, was sometimes being too smart can be bad for trading and investing because you think you know it all. So usually like doctors and lawyers and people with really, really good education, where they can read a book and apply it, do not do well in the stock market because the stock market is unpredictable and every day is something new. So I often say, starting with a fresh mind and open outlook and learning the correct way is usually the best. Having that being able to be open-minded. A lot of times, especially as we get older in life, we get hard-headed. We're letting our emotions take involved, or we don't want to change. The beauty about just getting started in the stock market is you can look at it from a different perspective, from an outside view, instead of being jaded like most people who do something for years in the day-to-day activity, the grind of it. So looking at it from an outside view, you can learn the correct way to trade, to invest. In my opinion, the best thing is institutional order flow, the news flow scanner, unusual option activity, same group, because there's no gray area. I don't have opinions. I could think Nvidia is the best stock in the world, but if I do and 1,000 other people think that way, it's probably going to go down in the short term because the stock market will always go where there's the max pain. So being able to do something that's repeatable, something that's black and white, where you don't have to use your emotions, or as I always say, my big head, that's the best thing because I tell my girlfriend this all the time, like, honey, I feel, very dumb. Like the older I get, I feel like I'm, my brain isn't as sharp as it used to be. And that's okay because the stock market, I'm just looking at a handful of tickers each day, deciding, hey, do I want to take this trade or not? And then letting the news, letting the trade work out and sometimes even stepping away from the computer, like we talked about earlier, is a great thing because you can let the market do the work for you. So if you're just starting off, don't be intimidated by there's so much stuff and so much information out there. I get it. Just try to find someone who's relatable, who fits your risk profile, something that's more black and white, not in a gray area, and don't really get caught up in the I'm going to make tons of money or the get rich quick. You should start off by saying, what is the max I feel comfortable losing? And once you become a good loser, in the long run, you'll become a good winner and hopefully a big winner.
Theoretically, the same rules you should follow at the craps table.
Exactly. Because after all, if we're getting involved in the stock market, we're usually having disposable income. So we're at a great point in life. So you might as well try to do it the best way possible. You're already in a good spot.
Awesome. Well, so if people want to follow you and heed your advice, where do they need to do that? Where can they go?
Um, I'm all over the internet, I think. If I have a show, Stonkomania, it's at 1:30 Eastern on the Trading Pub. We have like our own little trade room, which is super, super cool. I have a Telegram access that I post lots of trades, trade ideas, market commentary at Lance Ippolito Telegram. And I believe too, I'm on TikTok, getting on Instagram and all that other social. But I'll be honest, the best way is just follow on YouTube, follow on Telegram, because the Telegram's the easiest. I go straight to my phone to you out there, and hopefully there'll be links like, in the
We'll
pages and
include the
stuff
links
like
below.
that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Lance, I know you've got a show to do. Thank you so much for your time and all of your expertise. I appreciate it.